Hey, thank you. Oh, first of all, we made it. We made it through 2020. We made it through that endurance test that we didn't know we signed up for. It's like we were going about a year, and then we all got transported to hell, and hell was like, hey, you just gotta do this academic decathlon here in hell. Gotta do this endurance test. Have fun. But I have to thank you all, and I hope this comes across as genuine, you know? Like, because if I had a nickel for every time I meant something genuine and people took it otherwise, because the situation is and was, I'm a person on YouTube who talks about movies, generally speaking, new movies, and I talk about these new movies on my channel. That's what I do. That's what my channel does. Well, it's a little redundant. My channel does because I do. You get it. And then one day it was like, no more new movies. Have fun. And that's not even a specifically me thing or YouTube thing. A lot of people ran into that. A lot of people ran into what am I gonna do in 2020? So the situation as it was for me in my corner of reality was, well, people are either gonna come and hear me talk about whatever because they like seeing my face and hearing my voice talk about what I want to talk about, or they come for information about new movies and my channel's just gonna choke and die. And my channel survived 2020 because you all apparently just like coming here in hearing me talk about things I like talking about. I mean, not everybody, sure, there's a number of people who come for information on the new movie releases, but there's a solid number of you who came back. You kept coming back to my channel and clicking on my videos because whatever your reason, that's why I just have to thank you all. And I think that's important. I think it's important for people to recognize when they should thank people and thank people. Like if I didn't give you a thank you at the end of this year for keeping my channel alive, I just wouldn't feel right about it. I'd feel like a shit. Again, take that in the sincerest way possible. My channel is still alive because of you. And I go on to 2021 because of you. And that's a fact. I know at this point in this time, I'd usually have a top 10 best movies of the year list and a top 10 worst movies of the year list, but the fact is, I didn't watch enough new content to do those videos. I mean, I just didn't. When I think of the top 10 best movies of the year, I'm like, yeah, Speed was great. So I have all these other videos in my head as the enjoyable videos I did this year, and it's just, let's all agree, it was just a weird, different year. I'm just completely unqualified to give my top 10 best and worst of the year list. So it's just, instead of those videos, you get a thank you. I feel like that's more important. However, let's reminisce on the year and the things that happened on my channel in the year and where I just kind of was mentally speaking when I did this and that. And first of all, I feel like I need to speak to my fellow type B personality types out there and maybe some type A folks who could better understand my fellow type B personality folks. Yeah, that was the hardest thing because in my channel, there's a rotation, but there's also a consistency. I know that every weekend there's going to be a new movie, like one movie minimum, 2 movies probably. So there's a couple videos that I know on a weekly basis I'm going to do, and that just kind of keeps the consistency going. It keeps the machine turning, and anything I want to do in between that I can do, but I can rely on that weekly momentum to happen because the universe just kind of says, hey, here are a couple of new movie releases, and I do reviews on those movie releases. But at a point in this year, nope, you no longer have that. You just kind of got to do it yourself. And that for me was hard. I know I come across as this go-getter. So I've heard. I heard I come across as a person with the plan, you know, like, oh, hey, yeah, we got the plan. That's not me. That's type A. I'm type B as fuck. So yeah, so without that guaranteed momentum, I had to think of like, all right, well, what videos do I want to do this week? Which sounds really easy, but when you're me, it's not as easy. So that was a hurdle, I suppose. It was adapt to survive. That's life. Which is why Mandalorian being a weekly show and The Boys before Mandalorian a weekly show, I did weekly videos on that week's episode. I did weekly videos on the episodes for those shows because it gave me that feeling of that guardrail being back up. Video game reviews had to be stepped up. I mean, I knew I'd be doing more video game reviews. I don't actually logistically know if I did more video game reviews this year. I feel like I did, sure. Regardless, I was like, I can't rely on trailers of video games anymore. I'm gonna need to pull some game footage and capture some gameplay footage that I actually do. Also, special thank you to Jake Baldino for giving my channel a little bit of love when I first started reviewing more games this year. You know, he was like, oh yeah, Jeremy Johns has been doing good. And, you know, he's a good dude. And he's just a genuine soul on YouTube, in this minefield of YouTube. Really, that's all you can ask for. But also there were a couple of fun things I did this year. Like, you know, the Mirror Universe review. That was actually, okay, story time. If we're going to break for story time for a second, here's how that happened. It was like the night before April Fool's Day, and I was like, oh my gosh, tomorrow's April Fool's Day. I should totally do something, you know, like something fun, something different. My first reaction was, okay, review a bad movie like it's good. But I was gonna like super troll, not even, I was gonna pull a bad movie and not let anyone know that I actually thought it was a bad movie and review it like it was a good movie. And then I was like, well, they have to know I'm bullshitting, because at that point, that's just credibility. I mean, there have been bad movies that I've given positive reviews for, but that's because I enjoyed myself in them. So there's still honesty there. If I just take a bad movie and say it's good, knowing it's bad, that's not a real representation of my headspace. So I didn't want anyone to walk away from that review going, oh, hey, he actually thinks this is a good movie. Me being a Star Trek fan, okay, Mirror Universe. That was the logical thing. We'll have Mirror Universe Jeremy. And also me being a huge Twilight Zone fan. Twilight Zone's one of the best shows ever made. So is Star Trek The Next Generation. But Mirror Universe is from the original Star Trek and Deep Space Nine. Point is, okay, so the intro in this Rod Serling kind of way, though to this day, I don't know. I still don't have a definite answer as to whether or not I'm channeling Rod Serling or I'm channeling Carl Sagan. Probably both. So when I listen to it, sometimes I'm like Rod Serling, and other times I'm like Carl Sagan. I think the voice changes as I'm doing it. I don't know. I just go where my brain takes me. What can I say? And of course, you know, Batman and Robin, that's the logical choice. That's the easy, like, yeah, bad movie, and we'll say it's good. But then I was going to obviously say it was good when it was bad. You know, like, oh, the acting is so great. And, you know, like, clearly it was going to be fake. But then at the last moment, I got this neat idea to talk about the things in the movie in a positive light that could be argued to be positive. Like, you know, like the bat nipples on these suits, and they harken back, they throw back to old Greek gods, and that's the reason for the suits and the perfect body structure and the bat nipples, and that really brings it home. Like, that is the reason the bat nipples are on the bat suit. And so I got this more creative idea, I think it's a more interesting idea, to argue for Batman and Robin in a way that's legit. Like, the things that I talk about in that review in a positive light are actually things in the movie that you could argue to be positive. So I had fun with that. I'm glad you all had fun with that. And with the Duel of the Fates script, Star Wars Episode 9 Duel of the Fates script, when that hit, I had to revisit the Mirror Universe, which people are like, well, it's like a fake movie that you're reviewing, but it's not really. You know, it still is a script that I read. So it's like reviewing a book, I suppose. If I ever reviewed a book, it would probably be like that. You know, you still see the images in your head and you have the dialogue. So it's not like I made the whole thing up. The script is out there. Point is, in 2020, there were a couple of videos where things, you know, a little more creative. Kind of like October. I was like, all horror movies. Granted, I wanted to do them like 5 days a week, and I really underestimated life things that just happen outside of YouTube. Been doing this for over 11 years now. I guess I haven't gotten used to that. But still, I wanted to be a werewolf. I got werewolf gloves and contacts. The werewolf gloves sucked, so I returned those. I was like, oh, I'll do contacts. Contacts hurt my eyes. Feels like literally Satan's jizzing in your eyes. It's like, dude, 2020 is already hell. I don't need to feel hell in my eyes. So the contacts went away. But the point is, in October, it was just all horror movies. There was another Borat movie that came out. I was like, no, all horror movies. And yes, for those of you who caught it, that intro is totally from Altered Beast. I just kind of recreated the mutation in Altered Beast, which I'd love to say I planned it out, but I didn't. It was tedious. I had to go through and find a video every couple months or so. My hair was just a little longer. Find a frame in which I was more or less facing the camera, line it up, and you know, it was tedious. But, you know, it kind of goes to what I've always done on my channel. It's like these simple effects that end up being kind of creative, and I thought it was pretty cool. And to answer the question, yes, this is actually before COVID lockdown, but on my review of The Invisible Man, people are like, is there an invisible you right there? Through the entire video, there's an invisible me. It's like 98% invisible. And it's there from the beginning of the video up through the rating. And then after the rating, I think I piss off. Also, there's this. Like all this. I suppose I should explain that. At first, you know, you couldn't get your hair cut because you couldn't. Lockdown and all that. So it's like, okay, I guess I don't get a haircut. And then I got a trim when they opened back up. And then I was like, I'll just keep it growing. It's like every time you think of 2020, you'll see my face. It's like a time capsule. I don't know. I was like, if there's a year to just grow everything out and see how it goes, it's this year. But also, because people always do that thing at the end of the year where it's like, oh, me at the beginning of the year, me at the end of the year. And it's like, you know, the beginning is a picture of Smeagol and then the end is a picture of Gollum. And, you know, they do that with fictional characters. But I was like, aha, I get to do it at the end of the year with actually me, like a picture of me actually at the beginning of 2020 and me actually at the end. Nailed it. I guess the joke's done. So now what? A joke that I actually haven't seen a lot of people doing this year? Oh, that would have been a waste of time. I'll be honest with you, like I could trim the beard. I'll probably keep the hair for a bit, you know, but trim the beard to be a normal, like I wanted to braid it like a Viking or something, you know, have the two on the side or the one in the middle. That's just taking too long. I figured if I got to do it by the end of the year, sweet. And if not, well, it just didn't work out. But first, all right, here we go. Permission to come aboard? Well, I'll probably trim the beard to be a normal beard, keep the hair. You know, basically what I need to do to keep that Johnny Silverhand cosplay possibly going. Because if I don't get those Keanu comments in the comment section, what do I have? All right, this video became much more indulgent than I meant for it to. I don't know, I just figured looking back at 2020 and, you know, the not shitty things of 2020, that's fun. But again, thank you all for keeping my channel going in 2020. Genuine thank you from the bottom of my heart. Hopefully my channel gave you that escapism that maybe you needed this year. I mean, there was enough of a bus fire coming at everybody from all directions. So it's a very conscious effort. It's been a conscious effort for a while for my channel to be that escapism. It's like, no, I'm staying out of that. I'm talking movies and having fun, because maybe you need that. So this year, that was extremely important to keep that going. It'll probably be important next year too. As the logistics of this video are a little different than other videos, instead of saying, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more, I will simply quote the great Abraham Lincoln in saying, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes!